Fear not, citizens. Hope has arrived because we are here with My Hero Academia Vigilantes. Isaac, last time we left off, we had a concert going. We had a racerhead fighting a villain. We discovered that our B girl is the daughter of Knuckle Duster. A lot happened.
Luckily, she wasn't his sister, all things considered.
Yeah, sure.
We,
We don't want to. We ain't going there. That's all I'm saying. We ain't going there. So, those of you, if you're new, my name is Michael Thomas, the novice cinephile, aka President Mike. Joining me, as always, is the hero filled with puns, our favorite vigilante, emblemaniac, Isaac Wolf. And this is the Amateur Otaku Podcast. We're reviewing all things in the world of anime, manga, all that good stuff. Even Western animation from time to time, because we're weird that way.
I mean, aren't we all?
A bit. So, this review is going to be a bit different. Usually, we kind of go chapter by chapter, talking about major story points, story beats, and how it's all going to like evolve in the story. We are not caught up with the current state of My Hero Vigilantes, so hopefully, you're just enjoying going on this ride with us, whether you're reading it for the first time or you're rereading some of the earlier chapters as you wait for the latest one, which I think is like around 120 or so right now. So we're way behind.
Yeah. Yeah, we are.
But we're doing our best to catch up. That's what we're doing 4 at a time. So in this mini story arc here, we have chapter 23 called Daughter, chapter 24 called Dear Old Dad, 25 No Better Daddy, and 26. It's all kind of tying together into this story arc between Knuckle Duster and his daughter. Isaac, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And it's it's a bee-stingingly filled fight between father and daughter. That's for certain.
You know, yeah, that's very true. The struggle between fathers and daughters would never be easy, right?
Yeah, and I'm so proud of you of that follow-up pun. You know that, right?
I walked into it anyway. It was going to happen one of these times. So, again, this is going to be our traditional reviews because this 4 all kind of intersect into one major event. I feel like this might be the final stages of the first arc, right? We had the birth of the vigilantes early on, and then working together, becoming a team, and now we're having the conclusion of what's going on with this villain. So this is like the end of the first arc, season 1, right, of Vigilantes, ending with episode 26, which is the end of every My Hero Academia season, aside from season 1, which was 13 episodes. But we don't talk about that.
You don't think about that.
So I think that's kind of cool. But in this story arc, we are following up with Knuckle Duster, and we're kind of learning how this bee power works, right? It's not necessarily that she is evil, but more like she's been infected. Like the queen is burrowed its way inside of her mind, and she's controlling her and her subconscious. And I think that's a really interesting way to go about it, because I don't know, Isaac, maybe I just wasn't reading between the lines, but it didn't feel like that was something that was going on until they revealed it in this chapter.
Then I wonder who the heck is the Cocoon host? Is that someone that is controlling her? Who is controlling it? That's kind of stuff.
That's a very good question. And I swear to God, if it's all for one, I am going to throw this laptop out a window. Oh, somebody who's already ahead is probably laughing at that, knowing that I have to throw my laptop. No, but I don't know who's the main host, who's controlling the queen bee, who's the queen bee, or all that stuff. It's just really interesting how she's kind of zombified in a way, and that Knuckle Duster's doing all of this to free her. Like, did he know this the entire time? Was this something he discovered recently? Like, can you believe this might have been his mission the entire time we've known him? That's just wild. That's a great twist.
It probably was, even
Yeah.
though I don't think he's going to hang up the knuckles, so to speak, now that he saved his daughter.
Yeah.
Or maybe he does. I don't know. But this was clearly option. Should I say the first
Priority.
priority?
Yep.
Yeah, which is understandable.
You know, even if he does go into retirement, we all know he's going to dust off his knuckles and come back when he's needed, right?
Yeah.
That was another pun for you. You're welcome. You're not getting any more. So,
or will I?
So Knuckle Duster has a new weapon, and it's like these electromagnetic brass knuckles, essentially. And the person he gets them from is very interesting because I don't remember his name, but we all know he's notorious for working with the villains in My Hero Academia. He's like Shigaraki's broker. He's who we have to save from Redestro in My Villain Academia. So that's an interesting tie around. And it's like, what does Knuckle Duster have to do to get involved with somebody that deep in the criminal underworld?
Yeah, it's an interesting twist and all that, yes. And it is so funny how at the background the festival is keep on going like nothing is really happening on top of it all.
I know, right? Because you have this festival. That's what makes this a really interesting like climax to this story arc. Is that we have Pop and the rest of the kids doing this festival. Koichi's just kind of there for the most part, not doing a whole lot. But then we have Aizawa having to deal with the villain, even having to deal with one of the bees, right? Like one of the bees was going to extract something out of the villain he fought. And then we have Knuckle Duster trying to save his little girl. There's just a lot happening, and then we just have this goofy concert going on, which is a good moment of levity. I feel that My Hero Vigilantes does a pretty decent job of balancing. Again, it's that mix of slice of life and shonen battle anime or manga.
Although, okay, go on. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying, like having Pop having to overcome stage fright and deal with that concert was cute, and it probably only works because it's juxtaposed all the battles that are happening on the other side of the city. Because I don't know, if the manga was just that, it might have been a little boring.
And I have to also say that we are talking about why doesn't this have an anime adaptation yet and all that? Yes, and then you look at when he distracts Queen Bee also. I mean, Jesus Christ, that gotta hurt.
I know, right? There was a lot. Like, if this was animated, this would be a fantastic like battle. Him having to restart his own heart and not die to save her is so like. There's so many great moments in this story.
Also, speaking of the battle and all that, and heart fixing and all that, yes. Know that I'm jumping into jump back and forth, but when he does the conclusion of what's happened and he ends up with a smirk up, so creative, so clever, that's my baby girl. I will admit that gave me a chuckle. That gave me a big chuckle.
Yeah.
It was just, that's Eraserhead.
I know, right? Like Knuckle Duster is great.
Sorry, Knuckle Duster. I got brain freeze there.
Yeah, as I was just vibing here in this chapter, honestly, it's so great. I can't imagine reading this every other week.
Isn't Vigilantes monthly?
Pretty sure it's bi-weekly. It's one of those. I'm leaning towards bi-weekly, but it's like still like, can you imagine he gets stabbed in the chest with all that electricity, and then we have to wait 2 weeks to figure out what's happening. I'm so glad I have the benefit of just kind of binging through it.
Yeah, with an ending like that. Yeah, yeah, it's a blessing and a curse. Starting a manga, and it's a blessing and a curse. Going breezing through a manga like this, like we are doing right now.
Yeah, because one day we're gonna catch up, and we're gonna be so annoyed that we have to kill one chapter at a time instead of talking about them or reading them in chunks. This is a blast. But talking about anime adaptations, like that concert, for what it is in manga form, I think it's really great. They got the song down, they got the movements down, but it's still a bunch of still images, and it reminds me of the festival in My Hero Academia. I think that was for the anime folks. It's season 4 when Class A puts on that concert. It's not very fun to read. I would very much like to watch this animated, please. But all things considered, I think that they got the point across very well, considering this was a manga. And we even made Captain Celebrity a little less of a douche.
Which is wow.
He only was in like two panels, but hey, I'll take what I can get because we both hate that guy with all our hearts.
Yeah, it's certainly. I'm very disappointed that Kaio didn't bite his head off, but that's besides me.
So, I want to get into what's going on with Knuckle Duster and like the bomb bees. Him kind of like it felt very manga Batman, right? Of him using the grapple hook, him deducing the problem, him adjusting to the problem. It felt like a Batman story, which I thought was really cool because he and Eraserhead both kind of have a Batman vibe going about him. So we learned that his daughter's name is Tameo Aguro, and he and her got into an argument. She ran away and left, and we don't really have any more details. I think that's interesting because this might be a plot point that comes up later, but we kind of just know that this queen bee is using her as a host. She's not really thinking clearly, and that's it. That's all we have to go on. Do you like how they kind of left that a mystery, or do you wish they kind of just told us everything that was going on with this entire situation?
It all depends on if they explain it later on, if we meet the host or not. As of right now, I think it fits.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think it was a cool instance of like show don't tell, and like we get it, we got the emotion, we understand everything that's happening. And even though I'm not that attached to somebody like Knuckle Duster, I understand where he's coming from, why he's doing this, why he's gone through such great lengths to figure out how to stop the heart, how to drive the bees out, how to kill the bees, how to drive the queen out, and how to restart the heart to save his baby girl. Right? That's the level of dedication, detail, and everything that he put into this plan. Because, like we were saying before, this was probably his goal from the very beginning, tracking down the trigger, trying to figure all this stuff out. It's just really, really cool to see it all finally coming together. Vigilantes is like it started out. We were enjoying it, but I was it was losing interest because I just did not understand this villain or the motivations behind the villain. But I feel like all things considered, this is a really intriguing conclusion to that story, and we still have room to kind of build off of it as we move forward. I don't know. I was satisfied with how we ended things off here. Was there anything else you kind of wish we got to see during this mini story arc?
No, no. I'm more curious about the guy in the last panel. That will be interesting to see.
Yeah, so the guy at the end of this, I have no idea what is going on. I don't know if we're supposed to recognize this guy or if he's just supposed to be a cliffhanger going into chapter 27. But I'm interested to see what the next step is in the story. Overall, though, I had a lot of fun with the concert, with Pop's overcoming her stage fright and her weird monologue speech as they were stalling for time for Captain Celebrity to bring the generators. I love how supportive Koichi is of her, even though he's a big doofus. It was just overall like a really fun chapter, and or 4 chapters, I should say, even though it all felt like one continuous chapter as we read through it. But yeah, I had a blast with it.
Me too. And it's like you said, also it's good we're not doing one at a time, because that it would just, I need to read more. I know I have more. Why can't we do more? Sort of like that.
Yeah, we also had the perfect stopping point. That's not too big of a cliffhanger where we'd be frustrated coming back next week.
Kind of.
So, also President Mike and Midnight were just kind of vibing. Like Knuckle Duster's fighting for his life, and no hero seemed to know about it, which is just kind of funny to me.
I mean, he's Knuckle Duster. What did you expect?
Very, very good point. Did you have anything else you wanted to discuss with chapters 23 through 26?
No, not that I can think of.
All right, well, that wraps this one up, guys. If you haven't already, check out our review of My Hero Academia chapter 349 if you're reading the My Hero manga. Also, Isaac and I just discussed this, and we're going to have an episode on My Hero Academia Team Up Missions chapter 1 for you guys in place of My Hero Academia 349 or 350, because that's not going to be out this week. So there's plenty of My Hero content coming up on the Amateur Otaku podcast, as well as anything else we decide to publish. Isaac, is there anything that the folks can look forward to this week?
Well, I don't know when this is published compared to that one, but we are doing Cuphead, we are doing more Doron, we are, well, next week is more Attack on Titans, depending on when it's up. There is no, what I mean is it's no Attack on Titan on the 27th of March, so, but it's back next week, and what was it more we were talking about? I can't remember. We have what did you say?
I think that might cover it all for right now.
Yeah. But we also have some other stuff that's not in the, I wouldn't say in the can, but this side or not. But yeah, and you can find me over at my work over at Woodman Entertainment, and me on the Amateur Pod on the Amateur Taco Pod on Twitter, and me on Emblemaniac.
Awesome. You can find me at Novice Cinephile on all social media platforms except for Instagram, where it's the Novice Cinephile. You can find me here talking Attack on Titan, like Isaac was saying. We're going to be doing the final episode of Attack on Titan.
Supposedly.
Final
episode.
Yeah, right? Like, we have no idea. Supposedly, it's the final episode of Attack on Titan. We will see, but we're going to be covering that. You can also find our co-host, Brandon Alvarado, the Scarlet Fan 52, on all social media platforms as well. And we have a new movie podcast where we're called The Chatter After. We can hear us talk about movies, TV, video games, basically things that aren't anime. If you guys are interested in that, we did an episode on The Godfather very recently, and we're also going to have a Batman episode coming up within the next month, so stay tuned for that. Until next time, go beyond. Plus ultra.
Ultra.
Peace.
Peace.